So, Ruth, I'm super excited to just get into this with you. Tell me what your biggest marketing challenge is right now.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My biggest marketing challenge is my value proposition and basically how to sell myself. From the Midwest, I'm in Minnesota. It's very difficult to say anything good about myself.
My God.
To me, that's what real estate is. So the selling part for me is me selling me.
I am a true believer that just like you said, you're not selling houses, you're selling yourself. But just by virtue of saying I have to go out there and sell myself, it just feels icky, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Well, coaching, and I'm not in coaching now, but I have been, and or just being with people who have lots of tips for you. It's like, work it into every conversation. You're at church, you're at the getting your hair cut, you're at the grocery store, work it in. And I mean, I have tried it, but it's so awkward.
We can flip the script a little bit. It's not about selling yourself, but it's more about making that authentic connection with your dream client just by being who you are. You're on the right track when you are telling me, I want to get more listings, but I don't really understand what my value proposition is. What is it that you believe makes you different from your competitors in your market?
I follow through. I am very attentive. I don't stop trying to solve problems if there's a problem. I'm also a great herder of cats. I feel like that's probably one of the biggest, most valuable thing is from my background. It was just what I had to do. So I will, I have no problem actually picking up the phone. Like I'm an ex-millennial, so I'm like in that middle place.
Yeah.
But I still prefer not calling, but I will. I'll call the title company. I'll call the lender. I'll call the other title company. I'll call the agent. I'll call, whoever to make sure that everything gets done versus a sit and wait approach. I've worked in transactions where it felt like that was how the other side was working.
We all have this. Think about your experience, calling your insurance company or calling, your doctor or, your cell phone provider. It's a sit and wait approach. It's a sit and wait experience, right? You're on the phone, you're going through this automated menu and you're sitting and waiting. And a lot of the times you're having to explain yourself numerous times before you can get the right person on the phone to give you the right answer. That is probably one of the biggest pain points we all have. And so when you tell me that you're not afraid to call the title company or the lawyer or the inspector or the painter, I'm just making these words, and now I'm putting words in your mouth. Any of the people the mortgage person, like any of the people that are involved in the transaction, instead of waiting for them to call you, that to me is a huge value. So let's go back to the value proposition. So the other piece of the value proposition is to understand who your clients are and what their pain points are. Verbalize that. Tell me, who is your dream client and what are their pain points?
I feel like I really can jive with downsizers.
So your dream client are sellers who are downsizing their primary home, who are overwhelmed by the process because they've lived in the home for a number of years and they've collected a lot of memories, treasures. Your promise is what? So now we're sort of getting to the formula of the value proposition. The formula is this. So it's 4, and then you plug in your ideal customer. So in your case, it's 4 sellers who are downsizing their primary home, let's say. We can massage that for sure. I deliver. So that's where you're going to plug in what your promise is. The next piece of that is to show how you differentiate from your competition. So unlike the competition, who? And so let's think about how your brand is different, right? We talked a little bit about that already. Because, the last piece is because. And in there you want to plug in how you deliver on your promise. For sellers who are downsizers, we deliver. So let's talk a little bit more about your promise. Tell me more about that. Like when you think about your promise to your sellers who are downsizers, what comes to mind?
My promise is to have a plan. It would be not a one size fits all, but it would have all the tools for anyone who is downsizing. And then you kind of cherry pick what's necessary in this case. I have a plan that, if you need to downsize, I have partners who specialize in, doing the work of clearing out a house, as well as doing the donations, the throwaway, or even a sale, like an estate sale. I have stagers who know how to stage using your own stuff. So you don't have to worry about extra investment more than necessary. I am supportive myself through the process, available for questions and support when you need it. I understand that it's complicated.
I create a plan that's tailored to your specific needs. And unlike the competition, who will hand you a list of vendors and have you call them and coordinate all of the things that need to happen to get the home ready for sale, I ensure that the process is executed flawlessly with my attention to detail and a coordination of everything that needs to get done. That's just a really rough, we need to massage that. But I think that is your thing. Your thing is that you are not afraid to pick up the phone and get all the pieces coordinated so that everything falls into place. Where somebody else might just tell the seller that this is what they need to do. You're the one who's rolling up your sleeves and getting into the arena and making sure that it all happens. And you have the resources, the vendors, the contacts to make sure it all gets done. Are you tracking with me? Are you feeling it?
I am.
I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling it. I am. I get stuck at the point though of going, but how do you say that succinctly and in a tagline? And
you don't need a tagline right now. So
that's where you come in. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need a tagline right now. If we take that value proposition and then from that, we can create a listing presentation that actually shows how you deliver on that. Who you are, what your promise is, how you deliver. We can do that visually through a listing presentation by showing them exactly what you do and who you bring in to help in the process. You can do it by asking them certain questions that help get you to a place. You can do it also by, creating a roadmap within your listing presentation to show them the different pieces. There's lots of ways that we can make this value proposition actually come to life in a listing presentation. And I think that listing presentation is sort of your centerpiece, because once you have that, and I do this all the time with presentations that I put together, then all of a sudden you have, like Katie always says, right? Like something you can repurpose. So you can take little pieces, like whether it's one slide or, one action point, and you can create a whole story around that for social media or for your email campaign.
It's stress-free with me because I do XYZ, and having a way to explain that is succinct and maybe evokes a little emotion of feeling at ease after you hear it.
Exactly. Like you're tapping into their emotion, because I stay with you every step of the way. I make sure that all of the pieces come together seamlessly so that we have a transaction that's as stress-free as possible. Like to know that you're going to stay with them, that you're going to handle the details, that you're going to keep them informed. And that you're not.
So communication is a big part of it. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right. No, that's good. That's good. So I think
touch base, have a plan of communication. You can expect an email from me at this frequency.
Yes. Yes. Most agents don't do that. They don't say, I'm going to communicate with you weekly, daily. At this point of the transaction, once we have an accepted offer, I'm going to communicate with you on a daily basis or whatever it might be. That, and you're communicating those expectations to them. It gives them peace of mind. That's what your value proposition is, for sure. For sellers who are downsizing, I help you navigate a complex and often emotional process. Unlike the competition, who basically treats it like treats your home like a transaction. Here's how I'm going to deliver on the promise. I'm going to stay with you every step of the way. I'm going to communicate with you on a regular basis. I'm going to ensure that your home is ready for the market. And then you dig down as to what all that means, all the different pieces that means. Even if you don't sit side by side with a potential seller and go through it page by page, you can use it as a leave behind so that when you're having the conversation, then they can go back and they can see everything in writing, essentially, that you are a fiduciary, that you will be a partner in this, that you're going to ensure that the transaction closes with you by their side, communicating all the way through. And I would, again, put a timeline in there that shows all the different steps that can happen, that are going to happen, and how you're going to communicate and navigate, some of the unknowns along the way.
Because also I'm a visual person, seeing.
Yeah.
I love lists.
Yeah, me too.
And so I feel, so I can make it.
How do you feel?
It feels good. It does feel good to feel like you can be authentic and run a business.
It's the only way. I swear to God, it's the only way. It's the only way I know how to be.